With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? In one of the best games of the year, and a game that was totally circled on my calendar going into the weekend, the undefeated and surprisingly good Minnesota Vikings were taking on Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, and what I knew was going to be a fabulous game. And in a game that once again, Goff balled the hell out of the place, the Minnesota Vikings, after an atrocious start, you see that? The very first possession, they tried a fake punt on their own, like 25 or something like that. So Minnesota said, thank you, yoink, and scored right off the bat. Anyway, right after that, Minnesota back on track. And Jared Goff, I'm going to say this now. Jared Goff is currently the best quarterback in the NFL. And some of you have been saying, John, you mean except for Patrick Mahomes? No, I am including Patrick Mahomes. Right now, Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the NFL, and the numbers prove it. The numbers back it up. In just the last 3 games, Jared Goff is completing, get this, you're not mishearing this, 83% of his passes. 83% of his passes. He's thrown for 7 touchdowns with no interceptions. He's got a QBR north of 80. He's throwing for an average of almost 300 yards per game. And he is just completing everything. His last 3 games, he went 18 for 18 for 292 yards, 18 for 25 for 315 yards, and 22 of 25 for 280 yards. Completion ratios of 88%, 72%, and 100%. Patrick Mahomes, who is the man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes is the man. He is. But Patrick Mahomes has thrown for more interceptions this year than he's thrown touchdowns. His completion percentage is below 68%. He's completing less than 68% of his passes. He's thrown for 1 game, he balled out with 331 yards. But besides that game against New Orleans, he's thrown for 151 yards, 217, 154, and then another pretty good game against the Chargers for 245. He has thrown 8 interceptions to 6 touchdowns. Listen, guys, you can think whatever you want about Patrick Mahomes, and he's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm a GM, putting on my team all day, every day. Thank you very much. But the Kansas City Chiefs are not winning this year because of Patrick Mahomes. He is not having a Patrick Mahomes-like season. I'm not saying he can't turn it around and instantly have a Patrick Mahomes rest of the season, but listen, just call it what it is. He's a 61 QBR. He's completing a low percentage of his passes. He's not lighting it up in yards, and he has literally thrown more interceptions than touchdowns.
He makes good commercials.
He makes wonderful commercials, right? And listen, I have no doubt he could still turn around, have an MVP rest of the season. I'm not saying he can't. Don't say I'm bashing on Patrick Mahomes. I'm not. I'm just quoting you the numbers, guys. I'm just quoting you the numbers. Jared Goff, on the other hand, is balling the hell out. And after Hutchinson went down and everybody's saying, well, that's it for the Lions' deep playoff run hopes, what do? They come out and they beat the second undefeated team in the league. On the road, Goff is protecting the ball. He's throwing fewer passes. This is the key, Ryan. He's throwing fewer passes and getting more yards and more touchdowns. More yards with fewer passes and completing 83% of his passes. That is called working smarter, not harder. And by the way, his passes are ridiculously accurate. I mean, obviously, if his completion percentage is that high, but I mean, when he's throwing these balls, they are right on the numbers where they need to be all the time. Now, I'm not saying he's going to play the whole season like this.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, you can have whatever opinion you want. The numbers to me say Jared Goff right now is the NFL MVP. I mean, at least easily the best quarterback in the league right now. Well, John, if it's the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter, which quarterback do you want? Well, I want Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Well, I want Tom Brady. But I mean, I want Patrick Mahomes. Look, I'm not saying otherwise. I'm just saying, guys, the numbers, I'm not making this up. Patrick Mahomes is not having a Patrick Mahomes kind of year. He's thrown more picks than he has touchdowns. He's throwing lower yards per game. He's less accurate than he has been. It is what it is. Jared Goff, on the other hand, is having an MVP kind of season. And whether or not he can continue that, I don't know. But man, I'm telling you, other than that, who'd they lose to get? The Buccaneers, they lost in game one?
Yeah. Or second game.
Second game?
Yeah.
And that loss is looking less and less bad as the Bucs show that they're actually a pretty heavy hitting team. But I mean, since then they have rolled, man. They look great. Anyway, what have you been thinking about Jared Goff's performance so far? And I'm saying, listen, I think if the season ended today, I think Jared Goff is the most valuable quarterback in the league today. But I don't know. How do you see all that?
No, he's definitely great. I mean, he used to be on the Rams. He wasn't this good on the Rams. That's why we traded him.
He was. That's a trade that worked out for both teams because Stanford got a Super Bowl and Goff has just reignited his career.
He's putting up great stats, deep ball, all that stuff. Although I think you forgot about a quarterback, Josh Allen, on the Bills.
Okay, look. I never forget about Josh Allen.
Okay.
But Josh, who I love, has had a couple of questionable performances this year, right?
Well,
he looked pretty rough against Baltimore. He looked pretty rough the other week. When he's on, he's the most dynamic, athletic quarterback, but I don't know if he's in that MVP conversation.
I would disagree. I think he is.
Okay.
1,482 yards.
Yep.
12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And ran
huge.
for 3 touchdowns, and it's the highest QBR of his career this year.
He's also dating Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, he wins because he dates Haley Steinfeld.
That's my Haley Steinfeld is like my wife's ultimate celebrity crush right now, and so she loves Josh Allen because of that.
Celebrity thing there.
Yeah, they lost. The Bills lost to the Ravens and the Texans, so they have 2 losses. I would say Allen has less weapons than Jared Goff does.
Although he's got a new
Cooper
toy
now. He's got Cooper now.
And he did throw a touchdown to him this weekend.
So if I had to pick between 2, it would be those 2.
Jared Goff and Josh Allen.
Yeah. For the season as it is right now, those 2. Couple other quarterbacks like CJ Stroud and Baker Mayfield too. They've both been playing really good this year. But top would be probably Goff and Allen for me.
Yeah. And then of course, I mean, how can we not talk about Lamar Jackson?
Oh no, yeah.
What he's doing again this year, 2-time MVP, could be in the hunt for a third as well. But I mean, I'm telling you what, even without Hutchinson, when everybody was saying if Detroit's going to save their season, they got to trade for a Max Crosby, or they got to trade for a why am I forgetting his name? Myles Garrett off the Browns. Yeah. They got to trade for Myles Garrett, and maybe they do make a move like that. Yeah. I think they showed that, you know what, even if they don't make a move, even if they don't get out, and now granted, they weren't getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback this weekend.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's something to be said there, but for without Hutchinson to still go into Minnesota, who are undefeated, and beat them the way they beat them, I think that's pretty impressive. And a lot of that has to do with Jared Goff.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about that? I mean, I'm just saying what the numbers are saying. I mean, right now, Jared Goff is a more valuable quarterback to his team than Patrick Mahomes is to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are winning because of defense and a great offensive line. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.